Amazing. So let's start with the first question. The first question is for everyone, and it's from MC. The first question says, what is one issue of Isaac in Italy as a country that you particularly care about and why? Sorry. What is one of the issues of Italy as country and that you particularly care about and why? And the order is Chiara, Marghe, Bruno, Claudia, Yara, Teresa, and Laura. And you have 30 seconds to think, and then you can have 1 minute to answer. Chiara, you can start.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So one issue for me, it's about the ignorance that there is around the people of Italy, especially in the between the youth, and I particularly care about that because I can see, especially in some cities like the one from which I am, that is Verona, that causes a lot of not tolerance with the other people, and that includes many let's say fields like being homophobic or just racism and many other things. So that's one thing I care about, and I would like our association to work for.
Thank you. Marghe, you can go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so the issue I am particularly uncomfortable with right now in Italy is racism. I got the chance to work for no-profit that takes care of minors that are migrants this summer, and I could see with my own eyes what does it mean to come from a country that is not Italy, but you are here and you need to stay here and integrate yourself, and you are not given the chance to. And this comes from you being born in another random city without having the opportunity to choose in the end. What I think IESA can do and is already doing through the project itself can create awareness, meaning that we know that difference is important because we live in a globalized world when we need to interact with different people. And we need to understand that difference is also a value we should cultivate and not being afraid of. And it all starts from being aware about the problem and how can we act towards it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Bruno, you can go.
So can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So one issue that Italy suffers today that I care the most is about the Italian crisis that Italy is facing today, mainly caused by the economic recession that Italy has been through like since 10 years. And I care about because I can see a huge opportunity that Isaac Italy can influence about, because like this economic recession caused like a huge tax of unemployment. And I see that Isaac in Italy can really change the way that this can change the situation of the country with our products and all the opportunities that we can create not only for the youth in Isaac in Italy, but the people and the NGOs that the country have. So that's it.
Thank you so much. Next.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Claudia, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, first of all, I'm very uncomfortable with the leadership of our country because what they promote is populism and homophobia and racism, and they do not take into consideration any inclusion when it comes to cross-cultural understanding and any global mindset. And especially, I care about SDG number 4, so quality education. And what I'm most worried is that currently we have an education system that does not think of young people that will have to be skilled for a future job. And I'm talking about soft skills as well as hard skills. So this is one topic that I'm really worried about, and I also think that AIESEC can do something about it.
Thank you, Claudia. Yara, you can start.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So the issue that really about me is corruption and government that you have, because I feel the same here in Brazil, and it makes me feel very sad. Like sometimes people see Brazil just like corruption and those things, and I know that we are much more than this, just like Italy is. So I feel that AIESEC can make something for it, and that's something that about me, because we are not our government, we are not the corruption that it seems, but sometimes people just see this.
Thank you so much. Now, Teresa, you can go.
So one issue that I particularly care about is our youth not being reacted, being very alienated, and that loses hope for the future. And this, I think, is really a major issue, and I really care about it because I've seen in my friends and in my family how bad this can get. Like once you start, it can really become a terrible issue for your personal life, for who you are, for understanding what your values are. And I think AIESEC can help in this. And just youth detaches from everything, and also this brings a distance from the person towards all the other people, or the outer world, etc. And this also helps, let's say, the fear of the diversity that we're looking in our country right now.
Thank you so much. Laura, you can go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, I think that it's worrying me a lot, the low number of people that is willing to take action in order to change and to have this as a priority. And there is this kind of a bit of egoism that it brings, of course, also to intolerance towards the issues that like are facing in general in the country, like people coming from different cultures. And I think that as an organization, we really need to raise this awareness towards young people.
Thank you so much, Laura. Let's move to the second question. The question is for the OD Director's candidate, and Margherita starts. The question is from the MC, and it says, which evolutions do you see for the MC services provided to the local entities? You have 30 seconds to think and then 1 minute to answer. Marge, you can go. You have 1 minute to answer.
Okay, so I perceive more than evolution, continuity, because the work of the OD department in the last 2 years has been very good, and I wouldn't change a lot what we do. So what the services we are providing, what I would change is the way we are delivering them. So majorly I would focus on getting better education for the people that are delivering the services, meaning coaches, consultants, but also in the end, the people working on the ground. So I would also take into consideration the way we are working with LCP Commission first. And then what I would focus a lot is to really understanding what kind of realities, also taking into consideration cluster and tiers of the LCs that we are tackling in this very moment, and how can we work on very different realities. So, yep, these two major things. Thanks.
Thank you. Chiara, you have 1 minute to answer.
Okay, so actually I agree with what Marque said. In the second semester, let's say the services that we planned are much better, like in terms of peaks alignment and support that we give to our people. And as I said also in my application, what I I really think we should work on is the education of the management teams. That doesn't mean only MC that are doing coach to the LCs, but also the management team of the LC. So the EB mainly, because I have the feeling that we are training them only for functional stuff and not for actually managing people. So what we should focus on is switching a bit the focus from functional to coaching. And yes, that's it.
Thank you so much. Next question is for the TM candidates. So the question is from Isaac Impevia, and it says, which NST structure do you envision for your term? The order is Bruno, Yara, Teresa, and Claudia, and you have 30 seconds to think, starting from now. You can also find the question in the chat box. Bruno, you can start. You have 1 minute.
Okay, so the NST structure that I envision for my term is firstly based by the NST consultants. So I think about having 4 or 5 NST consultants based on clusterization, in which we can focus on specific TM realities. So the clusterization could be made with the membership JTI and the product access. So first of all, it's my consultants, like 4 or 5 consultants. I want a lot NST that works a lot, only with education of the membership. So making sure that every member and every TL and every VP do the national education cycle and all the functional academies of its own area. And the last one is a people analytics that works, it's me, like people manager, that works with NMS reporting and evolution of the tool. So I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Yara, you can start.
Okay, so the structure that I think is basically consultants, so people that will give a personalized consultant for every reality. Then I think about an education that will help me with our education of the network and NEC and those things. And last, I think about one that will take care of the performance management and talking about NMS and all the reports that they can help. So basically these 3, consultant, performance management 1, and 1 for education. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa, you can start.
Okay, so I envision 6 NSTs, 5 consultants and 1 people analyst. The consultants should be divided by cluster. I think 1 for expansion, 2 for startups if we stay in the kind of situation that we are now, 1 for scaling, but we would have to upscale some of the startups like by next semester, and 1 for specialist. This should be very, very tailored on the reality, because what we need to do right now is to give more support, more tailored support to the entities, and also work more on their education and on the way they manage exactly their committees, which is very different between the various clusters. And also, I would like try to upscale the NST knowledge of actually how, like the tailored realities, how the various classes.
Teresa, your time is up.
Okay.
Claudia, you have 1 minute to answer.
Okay, so of course I cannot tell you how many NSTs I would like to have, because I don't know still. I mean, I don't know the real battles that there will be, or the real focuses. But of course I would like to keep the consultants, and I have to say that the consultants have been developed a lot in terms of job description in the past 2 years especially. I would like a people manager to take care of the performance management, and what I would change or evolve, let's say, is the education NST. That I would like to be divided, 1 to be focused on the education for VPs, and another one, education for team leaders. So that would be the main change. So I would like to have a national educational cycle only for team leaders, so we can guarantee the same standards that we provide to top management, to middle management.
Thank you so much. Next question is for Laura, and the question is from Tor Vergata. It says, how about the expansion educational cycle? What would you include in order to implement the culture? You have 30 seconds to think. Laura, you can go.
Okay, basically the culture needs to be implemented and needs to start from the expansion manager, which needs to create like a special routine with let's say practical steps to include in what all the EB and also the members needs to do. So which is gonna be from small things that can be like touch point with people that comes from the other LC, that it can be also discussing about certain things, but also like very important things like creating, for example, like Perugia, like the case of Perugia did it in creating the culture with the name by creating, the name of the LC, the name of the EB, and Don Skeleton create in the normal routine like very practical things that also members can include in what they do and in the things that they do like every day to accompany the operation and the things that they have to do. And other important things is about including spaces and conferences in which we...
Thank you, Laura. Your time is up. We can move to the next question to the directors. Chiara starts, and the question said, you both mentioned improvements of consultants. What will be your main change in terms of improving the quality of consultancies for ELSI? And the question is coming from the local committee of Trieste. You have 30 seconds to think. Chiara, you can go. You have 1 minute.
Okay, so basically from what I've seen in my experience, what happened, especially during the last semester, was that the consultants had the job of basically micro-tracking the VPs that were already there from 6 months. And that is included in the concept that I've put in the application about the learning curve, because if we need to consider that these people have different, are in a different phase of this learning curve. So if we have consultant for the second semester of the LC term, we should adapt the way we manage them, not doing micromanagement, but doing more coaching. And our consultants need to be educating on doing that in a proper way. And maybe also like the cadence, not weekly for each and every LC, because it doesn't fit with everyone. And yes, that's it.
Thank you so much, Chiara. Marge, you can go.
Okay, I totally agree with Chiara. I also believe that in this semester, what consultants were doing was mostly checking on people and not helping them understand what the situation was, what the situation they were inside, and how they could move forward. What I would work is, first of all, the way we educate consultants. So the way we explain them how to do coaching, and this is the first step. And the second step would be adapting the kind of consultancy we are delivering to LCs, meaning that we also need to be aware that, especially in this semester, EBs are lacking a lot on knowledge. They're not aware of, on practical basis, what they should do. So, of course, we should divide the way, we should differentiate the way we do consultancies for LCs that are not really aware of what is their role inside the local reality, and LCs that already developed competency and skill, and with them we should work on how can we upscale what we're already good at, how can we move forward, and with small S's we should keep on pushing the implementation phase, which is what is currently lacking. So I would probably create two different... Thanks.
Sorry. Next question is for the TM candidates, and the order is Yara, Teresa, Claudia, and Bruno, and the question is coming from MC. The question says, what does it mean to you having an operations-driven TM, and how would you make it happen in the Commission? You have now 30 seconds to think, and then 1 minute to answer. Yara, you can start.
Okay, so basically we cannot think in operations without thinking in TM. So we have to work together, and basically we have to lead. So we have members and they need to have a good experience so they can develop leadership and they can give results. So basically operation has to work with TM by following the team standards applications and seeing how they can provide a good experience to their members. So not only giving team standards, but education and helping them to be really, really good members so they can give results. Because in the end of the day, what we really want is develop leadership, of course, but we want results because this will develop this. So we have to work together. There's no way we cannot work together. And this is what I think. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Teresa, you can go.
So first of all, for me, a TM is a specialist of talent management, and we're not there yet in our CIS. And what an operation-driven TM means is a TM that is able to change the status of the membership to impact the scoreboard, as we said since the beginning. And I would try to do that through the three pillars that I put in the application, which is team ignition, so evolving the team, the teamwork culture and possibility, and learning path, making sure that members know what they have to do, and hive management, which means management of the LC in general, knowing so that everyone knows his job and does it. This way we can impact the scoreboard. Otherwise, it can be a problem.
Thank you. Claudia, you can go. You have 1 minute.
Okay, so first of all, I think it's a mindset shift. That it's well, it's not hard to get, but it's hard to understand what it means practically. So from a very practical point of view, I think it means improving synergies on a local level with VPs, with the LCP, and with team leaders. So with VPs, I think VPTMs have been good at reporting data, but not at doing practically something about it. So I would like to see VPTM not only reporting and collecting the new data, for example, with the NMS, but to using them, and how to use them in the corners with the VPs and in the middle management with the team leaders. So I think being operation driven means having the operation.
Bruno, you can go.
Okay, for me, having an operations driven TM is about to understand that everything that we do as talent management is with and for operations, and I will make it happen in the commission first of all, continuing the Veronica's culture that she do with the network, like every newsletter and everything that she does for the network is based on operations, so I will continue on that. And second of all, I will improve the way that local synergies are done and making the VPs understand which diagnoses that we can do that affect the operation as well. So I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Next question is for Laura, and it's from MC. The question says, Would you propose any change in the expansion model? Which ones and why? You have 30 seconds to think, starting from now.
Okay, to be honest, I'm not planning to propose changes, because I think that the expansion model is working very well, and it has been implemented not so long time ago. So it can be just to keep on working on that, and it can be just exploited more. And I would just add something which is at the base of everything, and it's gonna start from the recruitment of the expansion manager. And in this case, it will be about focusing a lot and all the way more in the education, because if you start in the proper way, it's going to be easier to push the expansion to grow a lot after.
Thank you so much, Laura. Next question is for Claudia, and is from Roma 3 and Pavia. The question says, how the minimum 12 months membership commitment can be the game changer for the retention rate. Please explain your strategy to retain them in 3 key points. You have 30 seconds to think, starting from now.
Okay, so I believe well, and not only I believe, but we know that the retention rate in Helsinki, Italy has been a problem in the past 5 years or so. So what I thought is, how can we finally put an end to it? So of course, all the strategies that we have in place right now are to fix the problem. But what if we try to eradicate the problems from now on? So of course, we cannot force people to stay in the organization. That's why all the things that we're doing are to keep people in the organization. But if we start from the GET process, which are, of course, the admissions, working on sustainability, I think it could be the key. Because every organization, even from an external point of view, not only ISEC, cares about retention rate, it cares about sustainability. So by saying, we need you at least for 2 or 3 team cycles could be the answer, because we are looking for not only people, but people that can stay and perform.
Thank you. Your time is up. Next question is for the OD director candidates, and the order is going to be Marga and Chiara. The question is from MC, and it says, how would you improve the synergy within OD and operations? You have 30 seconds starting from now. Okay, Marga, you can go.
Okay, so first of all, something I would start doing is creating strategies for operation based also on OD support. So once we understand what do we want to do, we need to understand how we do it, and that's basically what OD tends to do. Second of all, I probably would work on the way we keep each other accountable towards the job we're doing. So I know that already it's happening. MC OD operation weekly meetings, where you can check the situation and understand how to move forward. I would probably try to adapt it a bit more and trying to understand if operations are really following the common structure, or if they're still working one by one. Then I would probably try to understand how team leaders, so management team, can work together better. If it needs to be a matter of quantity of touch points or just quality of touch points, or trying to really follow.
Thank you, Marga. Your time is up.
Okay, thank you.
Chiara, you can go. You have 1 minute.
Okay, so wait. Okay, I will not change a lot. Just maybe let's say the quality of information that it's discussed during the space with the OD and the operations. So I will keep the weekly touch point, and it is still also in this step I will keep on doing an alignment on the management that is needed for each operation based on the period in which we are, based on the peaks and everything, because I strongly believe that we need to adapt our management based on what we are going through. So if we are in high peak or in off peak, it needs to change. And so yes, basically analysis and then meetings and then next step. That's it.
Thank you so much. Next question is for the TM candidates. The order is going to be Teresa, Claudia, Bruno, and Yara. The question is from Catania, and it says, which are the main changes do you want to do in the NMS analysis in order to make it more clear and understandable? You have 30 seconds, starting from now. Teresa, you can start.
Okay, so I would not change much, like for example, the structure of the NMS. About the NMS analysis, to make it clear, I think that every TM needs to have the touch points and not just like saying it in the routine, yes, I had the touch point. No, they really have to do the touch points that are required, which are talking about it in LB meeting and talking individually with every VP operation. To make it more understandable, I would keep the report that we're doing right now, which is the report that shows exactly the team standards that are being implemented for each kind of team standard inside the LCs. And yes, so I would I would encourage VP TMs to take the report at LB meeting.
Thank you so much, Terry. Claudia, you can go.
Okay, so I don't think the key is to change the NMS, but is to change or evolve the way the NMS is actually used. Because the data that are collected through NMS are the ones that we actually need in order to diagnose what is happening in the local realities. But the question, I think, should be, how are we using this data and how are we reporting this data and taking action out of it? So what I would change maybe is to give more clear guidelines on how to exactly use this data in the local touch points, meaning it could be EB meeting, it could be LCP synergy meeting, it could be VP synergy meeting, it could be middle management meeting. But the point is, what do you get out of it, and what next steps are you taking in order to make the NMS useful?
Thank you so much. Bruno, you can go.
So first evolution that I propose is about making the NMS also about pipeline mapping. So it's evolution that I am already doing as an SC people manager. So making a question about pipeline and mapping and reporting to the LCs every month so they can plan since the beginning of the term. Second of all is to make the reports more specific by operations so they can relate it, like they can make the analysis and they can make all the next steps more specified when we have local templates and specific operation data. And third of all, make a national template, national dashboard with all national responses and scoreboards about team standards. So I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Yara, you can proceed.
Okay, so basically the thing I want to change is about the way the reports are passed to the network. I think that the VPs, they need to be more independent, so they need to analyze it and they need to take actions, because when we analyze something, we have to take actions about it. So we have to put the data in a like dashboard or something, like Bruno said, and it has to be very clear. So the VPs have to be a routine about the analysis and what are they gonna do, when they were gonna do it, based on that. So we need to have more data visualization and not just give them it ready. They need to analyze it. So basically that's it. I want VPs more independent and they made in their own analysis and take actions about it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Next question is for Laura and is from Roma 3. The question says, how ELSIS can have a role in the support system for expansions? You have 30 seconds to think.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, you can also find the question in the chat, but the way the question is, how ELSIS can have a role in the support system for expansions?
Okay, they can like have different way of supporting. First of all, by giving to the people of the expansion like a buddy. So create some buddy system that can be a VP like OGV or marketing, in order that is not going to be like a consultant, of course, but someone who can share things and like doubts and knowledges and so on. So how can they really support each other, and to create also kind of mentoring that someone which is coming from other ELSIS, especially for the expansion manager, in which they can always it's kind of and it's not inspiring, but of course giving some practical action that can really be implemented, and also in terms of people management and not just about operation and stuff. Other things is to create people from ELSIS that are available to go there, like sorry, not to go there, but like people from the expansion that can really go to the ELSIS and can be hosted for some days, and to see how the reality is working in an ELSIS, in order to see really where they can go.
Next question is for the OD directors, and the order is Chiara and Marge. And the question says, what are the main bottlenecks in terms of internal communication of ISEC in Italy, and how would you tackle them? You have 30 seconds to think. Madonna. 30 seconds passed, you can start.
Okay, so I don't see a lot of bottlenecks, honestly. The only thing is that a lot of people from the ELSIS, I'm not sure that are in all the channels for internal communication, so I will just work on push the ELSIS and put all the members in, and also align with the message that they are pushing on at a local level, because sometimes if a campaign is not also aligned with the one that the ELSIS are doing at the local level, it doesn't make sense. And then for the contents and the communication to the VPs, just as always align what it is inside and what is needed in that exact moment.
Thank you, Chiara. Marge, you can go.
Okay, so I agree with Chiara. I don't see huge bottlenecks in terms of internal communication for the entity. I think we took very cool steps, especially with Instagram right now, which creates fast engagement because people use Instagram every day. So they can also keep familiar with that, and it's very cool. What I would probably take a bit more attention of is the workplace management, especially in terms of quantity of contents that are constantly delivered to VPs, especially because I think that not all of them are super on track with that, also because contents tend to pop out a bit randomly sometimes. So this is probably the major thing I would focus on, and that's it.
Thank you so much. Next question is for the TM candidates. And the question says, how do you ensure top-down education to team leaders from the MC side? The question is from Pavia, and the order is Claudia, Bruno, Yara, and Teresa. You have 30 seconds to think, starting from now. Can you hear me now, Claudia? Claudia, you can start.
Okay, so I think I wanted to say that the MC starts when the LC are in a new team cycle. So this is a time in which we're trying something new, and new team leaders have started the new team cycle in June, and they will start in September, and then a new cycle will start in October. So what I foresee is not enough education for team leaders to manage their teams in the summer, as well as it's always hard when the VP transition came to ensure education for the middle management as well. So that's how I came up with the idea of ensuring a national educational cycle for team leaders. What I would like to do is...
Bruno, you can go.
Okay, so the first thing that I think is to first of all evaluate the academies about team leader, and to change mainly the evaluation that is based the team management academy, and to be a more like evaluation based on problem-based learning, that is like understanding how they do the main touch points when it comes to team standards and team management at all. And second of all is the way that we educate the TLs about the main touch points that they have with the membership, because mainly of them doesn't know how to do like the first one-on-ones, the first team meetings, and we don't have like this education about this basis. So I will do this main 2 touch points, and that's it.
Thank you so much. Yara, you can go.
Okay, so basically you have to understand that those people are the people who will lead our members, so they are very, very important. And we have to understand, of course, the timeline, and then we connect. So I think we should give them not just hard and soft skills, but like how to be a leader. They need to know how to be a leader. And sometimes they just feel lost, they feel that they don't know nothing, and it's like not that hard. They have the team standard application, and they need to do PDP with their members. So basically what I'm trying to say is we have not just pass the practical and functional learning, but also the how will they be a leader, how they can manage their team in the best way and develop their members. So not just focus on functional learnings, but on the others too. That's it.
Teresa, you can go.
Okay, so from the MC, first of all, I would try to ensure that TMs have more trainer knowledge, so that they can actually educate their team leaders in the right way and make them understand clearly everything that needs to be done. And then I would have a framework of education of team leaders in the various touch points, like which kind of knowledge needs to be passed in which time, based on the priorities. And also I would try to push for a change of mindset inside the TL boards, and I would use the Instagram page, and I would try to pass the message that team leaders need to have fun with their team, meaning functional competence, unique standards, and not settling for the easy way, but doing the work.
Thank you so much, Terry. We can proceed with the question for Laura. This question is from MC, and it says, Taking into consideration that we have expansions with more than 1 year, how can we better support them in order to unlock their growth? You have 30 seconds to think, starting from now. Laura, you can go.
Okay, basically it's gonna starting from helping them in understanding better the market. Like for example, going like there doing a visit, like a longer one, and really try to understand better like which is the reality they are facing, because in many cases they don't really know the reality, which is of course not like such a like easy way to know, but they really need to exploit it in the best way. And also really to find out which are like the bottleneck, not just the main bottleneck, but have like a micro tracking on everything and really understand in which are the parts that are not working, and really create a recovery plan in order to finally get out and to conclude they solve these problems, and also to work a lot in the mindset, which is the mindset is what really unlock everything. If you work on the right mindset and not just the EB, but all like every single members has the right mindset about how they have to do things, and they actually do it in the right way in the right moment. This is something that can really make a huge difference and really unlock that. And it's not, of course, like normal as an expansion, keep on being an expansion for a long time.
Thank you so much, Laura. Next question is for Margherita and is from Palermo. The question says, how would you structure the timeline of the touch points offline and online between coaches and LCs? You have 30 seconds to think. Marge, you can go. You have 1 minute.
Okay, so in terms of weekly and monthly routine, I don't think I wouldn't change a lot what we're currently doing. So I would keep weekly calls with LCs, monthly area chat, and monthly calls from consultants to coaches, and cluster chat, which I think it's a channel we didn't exploit a lot, but could really make the difference. What I would probably work a bit more is the timing in which we are giving, for example, coaching visits or functional visits to LCs. Because what happens is that initially we arrive a bit too late compared to the time in which people should execute and be ready to do it. And I would probably focus on grouping forces. So for example, something I noted that worked based on my experience is bringing functional consultants during coaching visits, because people can really understand on operational side and also on area management thingy, which is, as Chiara also was saying, what we are missing right now, how to work better. If you can anticipate that and make sure that before peak starts, people are ready, you can definitely unlock operation from operation side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marge. Next question is for Chiara from Palermo, and it says, what is your proposal for the coaching system and adapting it into different realities? And which should be the criteria for the coaching allocation and why? You have 30 seconds and then 1 minute. Chiara, you can go. You have 1.5 minutes to answer to the question.
Okay, so I will start with the coaching allocation, with the coach allocation. because from what I've seen in my experience, not always we had a clear criteria. I don't know if a clear criteria can actually fit with our needs, but my proposal would be make it not based on cluster, but on exchange tiers and the number of products that the LC is running, because in this moment we have in the same cluster LCs very, very different in terms of exchange performances. So of course they need different support. And then like for my proposal for the coaching system, it's not that that difficult. Just educate the coach that has to go in the LCs, and they need to be super prepared on what is the main need of the LC in that moment. If it is health, or if it is performance, or if it is just that they don't know how to manage the people and they don't have people, so they need to adapt the processes. So it's basically just analyzing what is the need of that moment, and how they can exploit the opportunity that they have based on the LC they are.
Thank you so much, Chiara. Next question is for Bruno. It's from MC, and it says, based on the inputs presented in your application, which changes would you introduce in the online education academies to make them concretely effective for the members' education? You have 30 seconds to think and then 1 minute to answer.
Okay, so the main changes that I do about education in the academies is, first of all, the evaluation that is done, because like the evaluation based on answers about yes or no cannot be so effective to see if the member is actually educated. So I would implement a more problem-based learning evaluation, in which mainly the members or TLs do projects and evaluate by that, mainly by his or her JG. Second of all is using our NMS to see the gaps in the academies. So if some content were not very clear, or they are not confident about something, we can use NMS and report the data to the TM network after, and using the academies also to do hard and soft skills to all the members. So I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Bruno. Next question is for Yara from MC, and it says, considering the big need of education that the Italian plenary needs, how would you ensure to fix it if you in your strategy plan to focus only on 10% on LEC, local educational cycle? 30 seconds to think. Yara, you can start.
Okay, so basically, sometimes the idea we have about education is somebody teaching a person on a training or something like that. But I see education much more than this, so that's why I chose the 70-20-10 model, because LEC is just a part of it. They will still like all of the semester being educated by the other parts, that is LEC, of course, the first one, and TL performance, tracking them and teaching them, and the practice, because when they practice, they learn more. It's like 70% of our learning, and that's why I put just 10% on LEC. Not saying that we have to not focus on LEC, but it's just 10% of their knowledge, and we need to focus more on practice learning. So all over the semester, they will practice and we will learning about those things, not only for somebody teaching them. So basically, that's what I try to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yara. Next question is for Teresa from MC, and it says, list 3 action steps to make the TM Commission able to completely deliver the team leaders education, you are explaining your application. You have 30 seconds to think. Teresa, you can start.
Okay, so my 3 action steps would be, first of all, as I said, using train the trainer knowledge to make them understand how they can pass the knowledge to TLs so that TLs can actually be able to make to do the job. The second one would be use a lot NSTs, because NSTs is a powerful resource that we can use to make sure that everyone of the VPTMs are actually doing the things, because then it depends on from their priorities, and we can influence their priorities through the NSTs. And the third would be increase their data management and data analysis capacity, so that they can to TMs, so that they can pass it to their TLs and educate them on that.
Thank you so much. Next question is for Laura from MC, and it says, what would be your main focus for the first and the main focus for the second semester of your term regarding expansion strategies? You have 30 seconds to think. Laura, you can start. You have 1 minute only.
Okay, at the moment, like in the expansion plan, there is like to have more new LCs and to open new expansion. There will be basically in the first semester of the new year, around 10 or like 12 expansion ideally. So this means that all these new expansion needs a lot of education. So it will be the first semester about focusing a lot in education and support, and create a proper education cycle and support system just for them, based a lot in doing a lot of chats, like visits and lots of follow-up. While in the second semester, it will be about focusing on performing and to boost the operation in the best way, and also in having sure that all the resources that have been created will be also sustainable in the idea that they will be turning LCs in a small period of time.
Thank you so much. Next question is for everyone, and the order is Chiara, Marge, Bruno, Claudia, Yara, Teresa, and Laura. The question from the MC says, how did you prepare for the process? Is there something you would like to change? You have 30 seconds to think and then 1 minute to answer. Chiara, you can go.
Okay, so basically, I guess I prepared as normal people do. And it is by doing chats with very specific people that were in the area in the past years and that are currently in that area. Then I try to to collect all the data of the past years and this year. So I analyzed the DAL, SONA, I went on EXPA, and I was reading all the booklets about everything. And after collecting data, I started reading. If I could change something, maybe the main strategy, like not the content itself, but spend more time on building it. But at the end, not a lot of things.
Thank you, Chiara. Marge, you can go.
Okay, it's gonna sound annoying. I didn't do anything very different from what Chiara said. So what I basically did was I first collected data, things I was not very sure of, and double checked it. So I collected reports, I went on SONA, I double checked on Core. Then I followed the webinars. I checked all the outputs of the webinars, and what made the difference was probably the chats I got with people that are currently in the MC, but were also in the previous MC, and LCPs talking with very different LCPs with very different perspectives, especially from the kind of experience I got was also very useful. If I could change something in a way I prepare the two parts of the process I'm currently doing, I would probably change the way I showed contents, not the contents themselves again, but the way I presented them, because I got the perception that they were not as clear as I would thought they would be. Thank you.
Thank you, Marge. Bruno, you can go.
Okay, so first of all, I tried to talk to every person alive in Italy to try to understand all the context and all the evolutions that they want in each specific area. So talking to everyone that I could. Second of all is all the analysis that I did. So I look about Core, DAO, EXPA, about see like the data of the operations. So I really want to understand all the operation status. And as people from Brazil, I wanted to know about Italy's context and main problems of the country itself. So how can I use Isaac in Italy to make a difference in Italy as well? So I think that were the three main. And if I change something, it's just the organization that I did to do the application. It's because I'm not a very organized person, but I tried so much. But I think that's it.
Thank you, Bruno. Claudia, you can go.
Okay, so I think since I've been far from the plenary from a long time, I started earlier. So I started, I would say, in October, starting to collect information and started to reading the outputs of the conferences. Then the real preparation starting in September, when I started to ask and understand the current status from different point of view. From the operational point of view, of course, I had to understand what were the main changes put in place, and of course, from a TM point of view. Starting being at NST a few weeks ago, I think helped me a lot because I was able to get in touch with elect VPs that, of course, are the ones that are really working. So I got to have their perspective. And if I had to change something, I think I would have put, let's say, less time in collecting information and more time in actually consolidating them, and so they could be more clear.
Thank you, Claudia. Yara, you can go.
Okay, so basically I talked to a lot of people trying to understand the reality, like LCPs, AVPs, and MCs, all of them, because I need really to understand. And then I started to analyze the reality in all sense, like operations, operations, ER, OD, and TM, of course. And then I analyzed the data, then talked to the people like in common, and it was really helped me because I need to understand. If I had to change something about my application, I think it would be the way I showed my thoughts, because sometimes it was not very clear, and I think it could be better, but I'm satisfied with what I have. That's it.
Thank you so much. Teresa, you can go.
Okay, so the way I prepared is, of course, with chat with the past MCVPs, MCPs, and with current MCVPs. And then I also had chats with the past TMs of various sizes of LCs to understand what they would have thought about the strategies that I was thinking of. And then I ran a survey inside the current TM commission to understand the situation more properly, even if they just started. Then analyzing the tool from MC, and I tried to proceed very logically with all my strategies. And also being NST really helped me because I've been NST since for 1 semester and a little bit now, and it really helped me. And what I would change, analyzing even more the routine of TMs and not getting sick right after the conference, so I had more time.
Thank you, Teresa. Laura, you can go.
Okay, what I did, it was about like talking a lot to people, like from the network to like in this case about the expansion part, and to try to get exactly their perspective, what they really needed, and to understand what they were struggling with, and also like these things. It was also about talking with the MCVPs, and it helped me a lot. Like, I mean, I tried really to understand. Also now working with the NST close to Madhu, it helped me to better understand and to get like analyze all the materials. I had different chats, I had a look on data, but I also wanted to be myself. So I really tried to brainstorm all the possibilities that there could be. And what I would like to change, it was about maybe to write more details about the strategy in the application, but at the same time, I didn't want to like make it, let's say, too long and overwhelming of things. So I just tried to be precise and direct.
Amazing, guys. The Q&A is over and you survived. Thank you so much.
Okay, so what's gonna
Thank you.
What's gonna happen next is that in the following days, also the last block of Q&A is gonna happen, SCP are gonna give their vote of confidence, so you're gonna have the result of their decision, and with that you're gonna have the next steps. So yes.
Congratulations to everyone, and then you can go and chill.
Yes, you're free.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.